Hey everyone, and welcome to the last episode of the Revisiting Era. It has been quite the season with quite the number of amazing guests. We've talked about so many things, and I just thought, why not make it 3 people instead of 2 people for this amazing last episode? With me today, I have the first person who's opened up this series with me. I have my girl Salma here today again as an honorary guest. She's gonna lead me and my other amazing friend Aimee, who I have known for so many years, and we have been through the thick of it. So this is going to be a crazy episode, y'all. And what better way to start it off with the introductions? Salma, go.
Hey guys.
What's it like to be back?
Oh my god, it's honestly so amazing. Everyone's least favorite guest, but I'm here for you guys again because I know you guys really wanted this. But listen, if I disappointed you once, then you already know what to expect. So yeah, love y'all. It's me, Sally. Salma.
Salma with the side of the side comment. Salma with the side comments is back, and she always got something to say, so you're in for a good one this time. So now I'm gonna hand the mic over to my friend Aimee. Introduce yourself, tell us about yourself, a fun fact, anything you want really. Just don't say where you live and you're fine.
Hi guys, my name's Aimee. Like Nadia was saying, we've known each other for quite a few years. Apparently I need to be closer. I've been told I'm soft-spoken, so I'm about to eat this mic for you guys. And
Munch.
She ate and she left no crumbs. That is what we're trying to do today.
Just like our guest.
We're struggling today, guys. Or is it just me?
No, tell me why when I take patients, they're always like, what? I can't hear you. And then I'm like over there shouting at them. And my coworkers are just peeking out the door, looking at me, struggling, trying to speak with my chest. Because I'm just not, I'm not that person. So.
No, but I'm also the patient who's like, what?
They ask what 4 times, and I start to question my ability to talk.
I asked what 4 times, and I question my ability to be a...
So anyway.
Not the heavy breathing.
Girl.
Everyone wants to tell me I can't breathe. Yeah, you know what? I can't, so I gotta be gasping.
You can just say that I took your breath away. It's okay.
Oh my god, you caught me.
Suddenly, I'm not the host.
Suddenly, I kind of want this show to be mine.
Suddenly, you're our guest.
Aimee, just introduce yourself. Tell us what you do.
So I just graduated. I'm trying to figure out my career, but right now I'm working at a doctor's office, and I do sales, I do medical examinations, I do front of the house, back of the house, you name it. I'm basically everything except the doctor.
Oh, wow.
Does that include being my wife?
For you, obviously. We'll talk about it later, though.
Look at her, she's so disappointed.
Suddenly, I want off of this podcast. I'm so glad this is the last episode.
Don't let my parents hear this.
Y'all, how's that mic taste? Is it good?
It's good. It's real good.
All right, good. Glad to hear my equipment is...
I feel like,
premium.
Can you guys hear when I swallow?
Not as loud as it is when I breathe.
Anyways, Salma, do you want to open us up with the first question? Wait, I didn't even introduce the theme of this episode. I'm so sorry, guys. We're all over the place.
Silly, quirky, girly thing.
You need to motion me when you want the mic.
Okay.
So in this podcast, the title of it is Where Did We Leave Off? Where did I leave off with Aimee, honestly? We met, how many years was it?
I think it was during COVID, so it had to be 3 or 4.
So we met 4 years ago, but little did we know we had been living very similar lives, just several miles apart from each other.
Yeah, so basically, I was a part of this dance group, and...
Someone didn't even ask the question.
And she's still not eating.
I need to finish the intro. I'm
not
sorry.
eating because I already ate and left no crumbs.
We're going to talk about what it felt like transitioning from a teen to a young adult. This podcast is all about learning new perspectives and explaining how we grew and all that fun shit. So... what was it like living different lives with similar situations? I'm going to have Salma open us up with the first question that she just came up with a couple minutes ago. I'm sure it's a juicy one.
Well, it's not that juicy. The juicy part is going to be your answer, because the girlies keep it juicy. My first question for you guys is, how did you two first meet? Your friendship goes back way further than me and Nadia's, and I need to know everything.
Sorry. So you met my boyfriend at a game night and you guys just kind of connected and hung out. And then when he got home, he called me and he was telling me about this girl, Nadia, that he met and how you guys connected and talked a lot. And then I guess like that next weekend we met at church, and from there on we just started doing life. I don't know.
Can I mention that this was the old church I used to go to, not the one I'm currently at. And at the time, I really feel like the people in like this young adults group, whatever you want to call it, young adults, I don't know what it was. There weren't a lot of people that I really vibed with, that I really connected with, and that were my age. And so when I found Aimee, her boyfriend at the time, and like several other, and her sister, I was like, oh my gosh, there is finally someone in my age group that I can vibe with, and they seem pretty normal. And so we hit it off from there. We started hanging out after church, and for a while, like, going to church became fun, and like I was like, oh, I'd love to have a new friend group. I'd love to have new friends. The guy I was with as well started coming, and little did we know we had so much in common and would go through so much in the coming years as we like. This was around the time. How old were you? Do you remember?
I was like 19 or 20.
Yeah, I was like 20. I don't know. What was it, 2020? It's 2024. And yeah, we kind of recruited other people who didn't have friends and who didn't vibe. And yeah, we became that little group. And yeah, for a while, I had something to do on Sundays. I'll just leave it at that.
Were you two the founders of the group, or like was it like, a bunch of people just kind of got together? Did you two start a group? Were you guys super close at the beginning of that?
I want to be honest. This is at a time where I was struggling a lot with my spirituality and like what I really like knew to be like what I believed. And so I was very confused. This was also around the time where I was under the influence of a lot of things, and I was living basically a double life at the time. So I was like, these people seem chill enough that I can openly tell them I'm gonna go smoke after this ends, and I wouldn't be like judged. And for once, it was like, I am so glad to have met people here, because I never thought I would, just given like I grew up in this place and I knew how people were very reserved and very like conservative, and it was like you cannot say that you were struggling in any which way. That's just what I felt, and like the vibe that I got from this group of people that I had grown up with. And so meeting Aimee, her sister, and like other people she brought into the group, I was like, I finally feel a sense of connection. Like, this is really cool. I thought I would have been gone by now, but I think it was like the friend group was the reason that I kind of stayed. And so that was really cool. And I met Aimee out of all of this, and that was amazing. So yeah, what's your perspective on that?
Yeah, I definitely think like I can relate with you. I was at the church longer than you were, and at first it was nice meeting everybody, but it was like basically a young adult slash singles group. And when I say singles, I'm like quote unquote, because half of them were married and like having kids, so it wasn't really a singles group. So like I feel like everyone there was just in a different part of their lives, which is great because you can talk to them and learn stuff. But like I'm not gonna go out and go shopping with people who have a kid, and I'm not gonna like talk about my petty little work drama with someone who has like a government job, or So something I really liked about Nadia is like you were so real and you were just like unapologetically yourself. And I like that because I felt like because of how open you were, I could be open about myself too. And like we kind of bounced off of that, and it was just like that perfect in between.
And I don't want to bash like the group or the church by any means. I know I talk about a lot of the trauma that I experienced from that place. But I just want to say like where we were in life, like Aimee worded it perfectly. Everyone else seemed to be at a different stage in life than we were, given we were in the same like group tailored at like people who are walking through the same path in life, and that was not the case at all. So I think that's partly why I was struggling to find friends, to find community. And so we found each other and kind of cling to each other. I remember there was a time where we were like, this is the group, and we would just like kind of exclude ourselves from everyone else, which I didn't like because it gave clicky. Like, yes, we did start a clique, but it felt safe in the moment because everyone else, I was like, I don't really know, and I feel very much judged from everyone in this room except y'all.
And I think it was also partially because we hung out outside of church. So we were more like invested in each other's personal lives, so that when we would see each other at church, we could just pick up that conversation. Whereas everybody else, it was like, how was your week? Like the
Very
weather,
surface
yada, yada.
level.
Yeah, whereas we could actually be like, oh, following up on things we actually knew about each other, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess you guys talk a lot about like the group dynamics, but like what intrigued you about one another?
Yeah, so for me, the thing that stood out is that I was very insecure when I met Nadia. Like, I was kind of a shy person. When I felt judged by people, I would try to conform to what I think they would like. And the thing that I saw in Nadia, like I said earlier, she's unapologetically herself. Like, if someone's going to judge her, instead of like turning around and running away, she just does what she's gonna do because she just had that confidence, and I just was inspired by that. And at the time I was going through a lot of different things, but I just looked at her and I was like, I want to learn how to just be confident in myself and not care so much about what other people thought, you know, and not be such a people pleaser, and actually like watch out for myself and like do what I want, and not be always questioning, oh, is this person going to like me, is this person going to judge me? Like I always held myself back, and I wanted to have more of that freedom that she expressed, you know.
So yeah, given that it was pretty much around the time that COVID hit, it was a time where I really did not have a lot of friends, to be honest. I think my friend groups during COVID had all left me by the time I returned to this church and the ministry and like met Aimee. So I was really in a place where it was like me and my boyfriend at the time, and that was it. And so I was like, you know what? What would we be better if me and like the guy I was with found like a friend group, another one, you know? Because we had been in previous ones and like we got dropped and like drama happened. But Aimee seemed very unproblematic just from just observing her personality and how like I don't know, she was just overall nice and kind and wanted to extend that towards other people. And I just saw that and I was like, this is what we need. And she seems safe and like I would love to be her friend. So I just kept like talking to you, right? What else would I gonna say? Oh, and the more we talked, we realized that we had a lot in common. I think one of the bigger things was kind of like a trauma bond, I want to say. But yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
with that.
so as a child, I was homeschooled, and my mom was like, okay, like, let's get this girl into some extra activities. And of course, she happened to stumble upon this Christian dance group, and she was like, perfect, let me sign this girl up. And it was history from there. You know, I joined this group. I was in it, like, we would do summer things, we would do year-round things, and it was very, we put a lot of time into it, but it's kind of one of those things that once you start, you can't really get out of. And so I stayed there until I graduated. And then after graduating high school is when I met Nadia. And then somehow we were just talking and we realized like we knew a lot of people in common.
Yeah.
And some of them were from church, but some of them weren't. And we were quite like, why is this? And then she talked about how she did dance. And I was like, oh my gosh, I used to do dance too. And we found the common link. We both were in the same dance group.
Yeah. But what was funny is that I started going when I started dancing when I was like 10, 11 years old. And the first place that I danced was this group. It was more like, it wasn't professional dance, it wasn't studio dance. It was sort of like a small nonprofit little group that did like lyrical, liturgical, church-based dance. So like, okay guys, like I wasn't getting the best dance education there, but I knew I wanted to do something with my life and I had never been involved in anything. So I did that from the time I was like 10 to about 13, I want to say. I left and then came back a year and then left again. So I got out just because I just didn't feel I just wanted to grow my career in dance. I was like, I'm not doing anything with my life. I don't have any talent. So let me just continue what I've already started. And so that's what ended up happening. But it's funny because literally the year I left was the year Aimee started. And so we never crossed paths, but
like we just missed
each other by like months. And so that's just what blows my mind because she would like, I was ending and she was about to go through some crazy things that would happen in there. We're not gonna get into detail. We're not even gonna list a group. We're being very anonymous, guys. But if you know, you know. If you know, you know.
If you know.
They left it all on the dance floor. You know what, though? I will say, like, I think that it's really hard for younger adults who are out of school to socialize. And, like, it is super nice that your churches have, like, young adult groups because I feel like a lot of the time, most of the people that go to those don't have a lot of free people that they know or like have the opportunity to socialize with. So it just provides a really nice thing for like people. Like I wish that like that was something that happened, you know, not just within religion. So that way like everyone could socialize. But you know, it's a start. Yeah. No, it's good. I just want more.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that socializing thing. Like, if you don't have anything besides work that forces you to be around someone, those friendships aren't going to develop. Like, when we're kids, like, you know, you're on a playground, you see a girl wearing the same color shirt as you, and you guys are instantly best friends. Like, I'm sorry, it just doesn't work like that when you're a young adult. Like, you really need to be side by side with this person connecting over something common, you know. And like you said, churches do try to, well, some churches try to bring in similar age groups together. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I think the nice thing about that is that we already know we have something in common, which is our religious beliefs. And so then from there you just kind of find out the other similarities, and it just builds into a friendship from there, especially with people who consistently go to church. You're gonna find more friendships develop just simply because you're there. Like if you see someone 2 times a week, 3 times a week, you kind of are just naturally going to feel closer with them simply based off of how often you see them.
Having something that ties you definitely makes it easier to socialize. Because even in school, like you had a common theme. You guys were both in school. You were both in the same grade or same age group. You know, there's always common factors. So I think that is nice. But it does kind of lead me into my next question, which is what are some of the traits that you guys value most about each other?
Okay, I'll go first. Oh, by the way, Salma is the host. I don't know if I specified that, but I made her the host. Just because I wanted to, you know.
Roll swap.
Anyways, so traits that I value about Aimee. There was a time where I was at this church and I remember being invited somewhere else. I don't know if you remember the summer of 2022 where I came back, like I was still part of like the group, but I was like, y'all, I found something really good, can you guys come with me? And you guys were like, no. I think it's because you just couldn't, mom wouldn't let you or something, I don't know, it was very minimal, but I was like, you know what, like guys, like I found like something way better, like I am finally growing spiritually, and I think I just want to try something new, be around other believers in a different setting, and I don't know if I'm gonna leave, like I'm gonna try to do both, you know. And then there was like a couple months where I would go over there and then drive to y'all, and that's what I was doing every Thursday night because it was around the same time that we like met.
Oh yeah, I remember
Thursday
that.
night thing, because I would just come in the middle of like the sermon and it'd be super awkward, and then they'd be like, oh, Nadia's here, and just I'd be like, where are you guys sitting? Just me like eyeing, trying to spot the table, and everyone knows. No, but yeah, I did that for a couple months, and then there was a time where I just stopped coming. And then you were like, girl, where you been? And I was like, okay, so I
okay, because to be fair, she did not tell us that she was not going to come anymore. We just we kept coming, and all of a sudden,
even my ex kept coming, and
yeah, like he would literally come, and we'd hang out with him, and it's like,
I'm catching a common ghosting theme throughout Nadia's life. She ghosted dance. She came back to dance. She ghosted dance. She ghosted church. She came back to church. She ghosted church. But now she's back with church. Slay.
Well, technically, she didn't ghost church.
I
She just
didn't.
ghosted our church.
Yeah. Ooh, shots fired. But I was like, you know what? I realized that I wasn't at the point in my life where I felt comfortable in my spirituality, and I didn't feel comfortable in who I was and what I believed in. So I was very like a very broken person. It was also around the time where I was literally trying to stop a lot of bad things I was doing, and I get to this new church and I just find like such a welcoming atmosphere. And I was like, I have to tell Aimee and like the group about this. Like, this is something like I don't want to keep it to myself. This is amazing. This is what we talked about, because there were issues, because we felt the lack of community. We felt that people didn't like us. We felt that people thought we were weird, except for the group. And it was just like, I want them to experience what I just experienced, because it is like life changing, and people actually welcomed me and didn't give me side eye when I walked in. I did end up leaving. I did stop seeing the group. I did not let them know, but I assumed y'all just realized that I kind of left. And I didn't want to make it a big deal either, just because I didn't want to make it a big deal just because I didn't want other people in the church to know where I went. But going back to the question, was Aimee has always been one of the most understanding people in my life. I think despite what I go through, there was a time in 2022 where I was like assaulted really badly, and the only person who showed up to and asked me if I was okay was Aimee, and was like people in the group. And it was just kind of like a surreal moment, because at the end of the day, it kind of really shows you who your true friends really are. Because around that time, I would tell people like, hey, this happened to me, like I'm going through so much, and like it would just kind of be like a no response type of situation, because it was very graphic and it was really bad, and like people get uncomfortable. But I like how Aimee kind of was willing to face it, and she literally showed up at my doorstep the very next day and forced me to go to IHOP with her. And I was like, I'm just staring at this. Like, I remember what I had. It was just such a traumatic time. I just remember just associating into my like stir fry bowl that I ordered. And
oh yeah, and it was like hella storming. And,
it was
like
storming.
flooding and
yeah. It was some IHOP. Someone had a milkshake. I don't know. I was just like, no F's given.
This literally sounds like every IHOP trip that I have ever taken in my life. Like, there's always something chaotic going on when you're at an IHOP?
Yeah. But anyways, besides the point, Aimee is super understanding. She's super compassionate and just caring, even to this day. I think like she knows what we have gone through very recently with like past relationships and stuff, and yet here we are. And I think that's just the value of like how you meet certain people and you're able to just pick up where you left off, hence the title, and that reconnection that just happens with not just anyone, but just like a rare amount of people.
yeah, and I think that's a really good sign of the like quality of friendship, because we're both really busy, like we don't have time to see each other every week. We don't go to the same church anymore, so we will go like weeks or months without seeing each other, but like we both do try to make the time to see each other. And then when we do, it's one of those friendships that like it just feels right. Like, you don't have to talk to them every day. You don't have to text them all the time. But when you see them, it's like we give each other our life updates. We connect again. And there's no awkward, oh, I haven't seen you so long. What do I talk about? Like, we can just talk, catch up. Or we can just, like, chill out, go get food, just have a really casual hangout. And it just works,
It's like time never passed.
It is. It's like we pick up right where we left off. And there's no awkward, like, intermission moments.
It doesn't even feel like time passes. Like, honestly, like when I have those moments with my friends, it's like I'll hang out with them and it's as if I saw them yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're just cracking it up, like talking, and it's been like a year since we've seen each other, but everything feels exactly the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so going into the traits about Nadia that I really like, I think she's a fighter. With all the things that she's gone through, she tries to do her best with everything. It's a lot of things that you could easily just like give up and stop trying anymore. But like Nadia keeps trying, and she keeps trying to do, the right thing. And she tries to get the help that she needs instead of like avoiding the problems like that she knows she has. I really appreciate her vulnerability and her honesty with everything. She does not sugarcoat anything. So when she talks, like, I know it's the real deal. Whereas for me, I'm that person who's like, oh, I'm not really struggling, even though I'm like actually struggling, but like she's just honest about it. And I really admire that. And, I just think that she has a really fun personality. Like, she has a sense of humor that I don't find in a lot of people, you know.
It's a trauma, Aimee. I hate to break it to you, but you did say I was a fighter.
Trauma, humor, they go together. Like, Nadia's literally the Mike Tyson of trauma.
Yeah, and so like I said earlier as well, she's just very authentically herself, and I aspire to be like that. And I think actually after knowing you for so many years, I feel like I have started seeing those changes in me. Obviously not to like a huge extent, but like I'm learning how to be honest with how I'm doing. I'm learning how to not overthink as much and try to just do what I think is right, and try to not be so tripped up by the people who I think are like giving me side eye or talking behind my back, because like in reality, you can't control how other people are going to take things or what they're going to say, what they're going to think. The only thing you can control is yourself. And if you act in a way that you did what you thought was best, even if you're not fully informed, I think that really is the most important thing, and that people can find a lot of peace when they lean into that, because then that weight is taken off your shoulder. You don't have to play that interpretation game. You don't have to play that, oh, I'm going to be this person in front of this person, and I'm going to be that person in front of that person. Like, you just are yourself and you have peace in your own mind.
Yeah, no, I really do appreciate Aimee being someone who I can be real with, and having someone from like that initial community, that initial church is something I never really like found someone who I could literally be straight up in the building and outside of it. Like it just meant a lot to me.
Mm-hmm. I think another thing is that we actually have really opposite personalities, I would say, but I feel like that made our friendship more interesting because of our dynamic, as well as just like, how opposites attract. I think that was our situation. Like, like
Nadia and I are literally exact opposites to the T. Like, I'm hot, she's cold. Like, I'm yes, she's always no.
Yes. Literally don't like any of the same things. It's crazy.
We both like talking about our trauma.
Wrong episode. I mean, wrong season.
But it's true.
Anyways, Aimee, you were saying.
Yeah, that's about all I was saying. But I think that sometimes if you're with people who are a little bit too similar, like the dynamic, it either gets too repetitive or like, there's no good balance, whereas we have that balance.
Let's talk about the change that happens with growth. I think that's the overall theme of the revisiting era. We're revisiting who we were back then and who we are now. Let's revisit who we were when we first met and talk about how it changed. I think Salma has a question in terms of that.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like, let's revisit Nadia, but from a third person.
First impression of Nadia is that I could tell like you were going through a lot, and I could tell that you were trying to find yourself. You were trying to find a place to be welcome. You were kind of learning how to redefine who you were, and I just kind of leaned into that, and I met you where you were at. And like now when I see a person who you dealt with things with your family, you dealt with a lot of things that not the average person needs to deal with, but like seeing your life when I first met you versus seeing your life now, I just see you're at a new job, you have like a new group of friends, and like you are just happier now that you did find that other church, even though it's not at the church I go to. Like, you really were in a low spot, and like you're riding that like upward, hill in life. And I'm really happy to see all that progress and to see how different people influenced you in different ways. And we all are just basically a combination of who we hang out with. And I can see when you find that right group, like your life ends up just getting a little bit better, and you start finding who you are and you start enjoying that instead of constantly thinking about the ways that you're suffering.
Yeah, I think Aimee met me at a very weird time in my life. It was kind of that transition between being a crackhead, I think, or being like someone who would just do things because they feel like they need to do them. It was very much like when I was like 18, 19, 20, I was just doing things because I felt like doing them. I didn't really put any logic into what I was doing. And so I met Aimee around the time of the withdrawal from a lot of things I'm not proud of. But I guess like that young adult life, that transition from being a teen to a young adult is very confusing and it's very hard. And I think for me, it was like I was holding on to a lot of pain. So in a way, my release was to do whatever I wanted at whatever time and not think about consequences. And that's what I did. And so meeting her, I think it gave me such a sense of stability. It also kind of made me realize, like, girl, what are you doing? Because Amy's very mature for her age. So I know there was some things that I would do that would be very questionable. And she would straight up be like, why? And I'd be like, you know what? You're right. I'm stupid. So she met me at that time, and I think she has been one of the people that has seen me kind of go through the worst periods of my life and kind of make it out on the other end. Like, girl, when you met me, I was running and now I'm crawling, but that's okay. Most of that is health related. Some of that is trauma, but like you said, I'm still here somehow. It's crazy. It's crazy that people are able to see things in you that you don't see yourself.
Yeah, I was just about to say that because you might not feel it, but from the outside perspective, I can see it. Like, I promise you, I can see it. Like, obviously, I'm not going to get on here and bash you and say, you were so immature, you were this, you were that. But I can say, like, I have seen a lot of growth. You know yourself every day, but maybe it is because I have more space that when we do meet, I'm like, oh, I noticed this difference in you.
For Aimee, like, I think the most astounding difference to me is how much she has like come out of her shell in multiple ways. When I met Aimee, like, she was soft-spoken, but oh my gosh, she's not that anymore. Like, I see
A little too loud now.
yeah, I see someone who speaks her mind, who is not afraid to stand up for people and state her opinion, because I would trust Amy's opinion any day. But yeah, it's just like the tremendous growth that I've seen in you. And it's crazy because like when you've known people for like 4+ years, like you get to see some things and the stark difference is astounding. When I first met you, I was like, I thought it was like you were going to talk to me once and then leave, but she stayed. I never know who's gonna stay, but it's crazy to come out on the other side and be like, oh, you're still here fighting this life journey with me. Yeah, props to you. You're amazing.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel the same way. Like, we first met and like I wasn't like fully invested in the friendship because I was like, oh, we're so different, and like you said, I was in my shell. I was very shy. I was very like insecure, and I was like, yeah, I can't match this girl's energy, but I was also at the same time like, she's really chill to like hang out with. So I mean, we did work out. Like, we've gone through a lot of things. Like, something that comes to my mind is that we went from like kind of having awkward conversations at church to literally going to another state for a wedding. And like one of the biggest highlights I got from that is that we stayed together overnight. And it's one of those things like you think you know someone until you live with them. But I was like, the thing is, when we went on that trip together, I felt like that was like a pivotal moment in our friendship. Like, we spent so much time together. We went to that wedding. I know it was pretty stressful for you. We had like complications with the room and everything, as well as just timing. But like after that trip, that's when I was like, okay, this girl is like actually one of my best friends, because we were like spending so much time together. We knew each other. Like, we could have our disagreements and it wasn't like a big deal. Like, it's not like, oh, you don't think the same way, so like we're never going to talk again. It's more like, oh, okay. I don't think we had a disagreement, but it was just like we could be so real with each other.
Raw, yeah.
Like, yeah, like there was like once you like stay with someone overnight, it's like they just see everything, you know. And it's like if you can get through that and like still be close, I feel like that really helps me feel connected with you and help me, like, I guess it helped me take down one of my walls, because I have a lot of walls up. I like to protect myself, but just being that close with you, I realized like, okay, like I can be comfortable. I can like let loose a little bit more, you know.
I still won't forget that one time in that hotel room where you were thrown off the bed and almost died. It's on video, and like there was this one time I looked at it and I just saw Amy's life flash before her eyes of like becoming paralyzed. And yeah.
I feel bad for the people. Dude, we were loud. That's all I gotta say.
Not the John Cena in the hotel room.
No, straight up. Like, I still have those videos. Like,
I haven't seen these. This is why I'm doing this. This is what the tea I needed.
As we wrap up this episode, this whole season, really, it has just been an honor interviewing so many different people with different perspectives and talking about multiple things that kind of shaped us with growth in the terms of growth. I think revisiting our eras are so important just because we can like analyze and learn about like who we were and what brought us to where we are now, and who knows where we will be in 5 years. Who knows if we're still going to be talking. Like, life is so unpredictable, but that's the beauty of it all, and that's just the overall message I wanted to give out to people in the podcast. So I'd like to thank my host who stepped up today, Salma. Any last words for us this fine evening?
I know the fans don't love me, but I love the fans. Love me, okay? It's not that hard. Also, I love Aimee. Thank you.
Thank you, Salma. All right, Aimee, any final words today?
I say just, ride the journey of life. Keep your eyes open for, the small things. Like, it's the small things that add up and really just make life beautiful. And I just want you guys to appreciate the way that all of our complex lives kind of intertwine and create who we are. And it's a never changing dynamic, like we're always going to be refining our personalities. We're always going to be learning different things, meeting new people, experiencing new things, like, and just be open to that ride, like some people go through life and they're always complaining, and I've gone through that period of time in my life, but I just want to encourage everyone to practice an attitude of gratitude, like it really changes the game. And yeah.
That was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Such a great takeaway message for the whole season, really. Like, it just kind of summarizes every single episode. So yeah, you topped that for real.
This is why I love Aimee.
Thank you so much for being on this podcast with me today. I don't know what the future holds with the podcast or what my next project is going to be, but I'd like to thank all my supporters for being there and for literally tuning in and for just giving me that overall clout for the episodes that I put out, because your girl needs it. But yeah, until next time, I hope you guys revisit your eras and took something away from the series. I love you all, and thanks for the support once again.
Next season finna be a remix. Catch me and Aimee on the block. Nadia's not in the podcast anymore. Sorry, Nadia, I love you.
Oh.
She's gonna kill you. As soon as this recording goes off, it's gonna go down.
Inshallah.
You know what? I might just leave. Alright, bye guys.
That's all.